Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Houston Roundball Review presents Folks Talkin Sports. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Joining me is Willy Gibson from WTG Sports. And been a minute since we've seen James Mueller on the show. Young man, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing well. Glad you can make it, James. Well, I wanted James to see if James was available. I'm glad he is, because James is going to discuss one of the other underperforming athletic programs on campus at the University of Houston, the baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
James, what's wrong with baseball? UH baseball.
To be honest, I wasn't able to watch this weekend because I didn't have whatever they were streaming on. I followed along, but from what I've seen, I went to their opener last week, watched all last week, and then the pitching it's sort of been similar to last year where it's very hit or miss. There's not that one dominant arm, a true Friday night guy that can go out there and give, 6 or 7 innings, giving up, 2-3 runs at the most. And then the offense has been sporadic, it will come and go at certain points. But I mean, the past 2 games, dropping to Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Incarnate Word, they gave up 1 million runs. I forget how many total, but it was a lot. And so,
real quick,
I mean,
hey, let me pause you right there. Willy Gibson.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of Incarnate Word as a baseball team?
That as a baseball team, I've heard of them basketball wise, but I'm sure, yeah, that's San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coogs gave up 10 runs to them today. Lost 10-8. Go ahead,
Wow.
James. Keep going.
Yeah, they've been run ruled twice in this week. Wednesday, they got run ruled by UTSA, 12-2-7, and then yesterday against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, same thing, 12-2 and 7 innings. Their one win, they put 14 up on Utah on Friday, but they still gave up 5 runs that game. So overall, what is it? Like 25 innings this weekend, giving up 27 runs. So that's not going to win you a ton of ball games.
Yep, they are. The Cougs are now 2-5. They're hitting 242 as a team. 2-4-2. This is college baseball now. 242. Team ERA is 7.85.
Wow.
That's not good
At all.
And they still have the defending or the semifinal or the runner-ups, Oklahoma, coming to town in a couple weeks. Then they got A&M, they got Minnesota, so they haven't even gotten into the real meat of the non-conference schedule.
Yeah, that's good, because you said they gave up 12 runs to UTSA, right?
Yeah, and then 12 to Texas A&M Corpus Christi,
and then 10 to an Incarnate Word. Huh? That's not 3 of the superpowers in college baseball, as far as I know. Yeah. All right, James, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is this it for baseball coach Todd Whitting?
If this season continues the trend that we've seen in the first 2 weeks, then I believe so. Who knows? It's still early in the season. Obviously, a lot of things can change. I'm not saying they're going to, because I haven't seen a ton to give, or I haven't seen much to, give fans hope for, turn the season around, but we'll see. But yeah, this is the last year of his contract, I believe. And so I do not think, unless they're not able to find their guy, I highly doubt that he will be back if the season continues on this trend. Of course, if it does change and they're able to, get hot and make some noise in conference and get back to the NCAA, tournament and just a regional, then I can see him being back, but not at this pace.
What does your gut tell you, James? Is he back or not?
I think there's probably a different coach in the first year in the Big 12.
I agree. That's what I heard a few days ago, that this is it for him. You know, barring some turnaround, a miraculous turnaround. Sad, but yeah, barring a miraculous turnaround, be looking for a new baseball coach at the University of Houston. I think Mr. Gibson thinks, and James, I think you as well believe that UH should be looking for another coach for women's basketball as well, unless the Cougs make the tournament. Right, James?
I mean, they're not gonna. Unless they win the conference tournament. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the move. I'm not confident the school will do it because I mean the leash has just kept getting extended, even though they haven't had any meaningful results. You know, they'll win a couple big games here and there, but no NCAA tournament. And you know, they haven't won a conference championship, so I think it would be smart to sort of look around. But do I think the school will do it? I'm not sure, just because they haven't seemed to pay much attention to the program.
Sad but true. Well, what do you think about what James just said?
Yeah, you guys are on the ground there, so I defer to you. But it seems to be the way. It's crazy because call me soft, I guess, but I'm liking what he's doing conference-wise this year. I'm not going to call him for his job, but well, let me say this: I'm not fire the coach guy. I'm not for just get him out of there. But results, it's a results-driven business, and this will be his first tournament in how many years? If he were to make the tournament, how many years has he been there?
9. This is 9th year.
9 years. First of all, how'd you get the first 8 with no tournament berths? That's number one. For you to get one in year 9 and say, hey, this is cause to come back. That's a lot. That's yeah. I mean, they've had a strong showing conference this year, but that would beg the question: what happened non-conference to be in the hole that you're in? That, given the positive performance you've had in conference, there's still no shot of you making the tournament unless you win your conference tournament. And there's no, and that's in year 9.
Yes.
So I'm talking myself back off the like, no. Yeah. That doesn't sound too promising in allowing someone to return.
Both of you are correct. I'm going to say 2 things. I wonder if the road win at South Florida saved his job, but the team followed up that road win at South Florida with a home loss to Memphis, 45-44. So James, none of us believe the team is going to win the conference championship this year and earn the automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. So barring that, Coach Huey, I think UH should move on, look in another direction. And I'm going to put this out there for our fans who are watching on Twitter and YouTube. I had a phone call on a few days ago, and someone gave me some names of possible coaching candidates for the position. So just putting it out there. And this person is pretty connected. But the person asked me, and this is a question that we ask ourselves: Kris, how serious is the administration about women's basketball? Because if they're not serious, then you're just wasting everybody's time who may want the job. And that's a question we need to have answered, because if they're not serious, Will, you're right. 9 years, no tournament. If you don't care, you don't care. I mean, you're just keeping the wheel going if you don't care.
Right. Right.
And I think one thing to add, just like to put in perspective, the American has typically been a one-bid league for the most part when it comes to tournament time on the women's side. The Big 12 this year is supposed to get 6 teams in the latest bracketology for the women's side. So, I mean, to say we know it's not getting any easier, but like that level of competition is not up just one step. It's up a couple steps. Coming the next, it's only going to get enormously more hard. To do something.
The irony is, this is probably a down year in the Big 12, and they're still projected to get 6 teams in the tournament. But real quick reminder: Folks Talking Sports is brought to you by, sponsored by 5 Star Properties. 5 Star Properties is a Dallas-based company owned by a UH alum. If you're facing foreclosure or you need to sell your house as is for cash, call 972-532-SELL or visit their website at 5starprops.com. FIVESTARPROPS.com. So TCU women's side is struggling, and they're probably going to get a new coach. Baylor is having a down year compared to the Coach Mulkey years, but Houston would love to have the problems that Baylor's having in terms of wins and losses. Texas A&M, of course, is an SEC, new coach. They're having struggles, a lot of struggles, but their program is better positioned than UH. Will.
Yes, sir.
James. Rice Owls yesterday picked up their 20th win of the season. 27 overall. Coach Edmonds is in her second year at Rice. This is her first year winning 20. In her second year at Rice, she's already won 20 games, with 2 games to go in the regular season. And she's dealing with injuries. I think they started the year with 16 players. They're down to 10. So they're still winning games. I'm just saying, if you care about women's basketball, you probably need to move on another direction. I'm just saying, especially if you're going to a Big 5, a Power 5 program. I'm just saying. Willy Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ohio State win today in basketball, men's basketball?
The men's basketball team did win. The streak is over.
Who they beat?
They beat Illinois.
Oh, that's right. Illinois. That's an upset. Kind of.
760.
Because didn't Illinois beat Northwestern earlier? Well, a few days ago?
Thursday, yeah. They were down 18. Back to win.
And the Northwestern came back and lost today to Maryland. Life in the Big Ten.
And Maryland will be here Wednesday for senior night.
Oh, Will. Yep. Be a bad look if you lose on senior night, Will.
Well, it's been a bad look all year except for today. I mean, keep it a buck.
Have you heard has anything changed regarding the Big Ten and conference expansion in the Big Ten?
Other than the 2 to make it 16 in 2024? No.
Has the football schedule been announced yet for 2024 or 2023?
No, it's 2023, yes. Not 2024, no.
Any delays in that?
No.
So Pete Thamel reported a few days ago that there's a slight crack in the possibilities that the Big Ten might expand. You disagree?
Yeah, I do.
What if I say, Will, that there's got to be some folks in the Big Ten who just do not want those student assets at USC and UCLA to endure all the travel by themselves?
I would ask who those folks are, and it doesn't matter if they aren't the right folks.
Some folks in the Big Ten. I'm just kicking. I'm doing tossing stuff against the wall. We'll see if it sticks.
Yeah, if it's not the right folks, it won't.
Who could those right folks be?
Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith. That's not biased. That's just real talk. If it's Iowa AD Gary Bartha, no, it won't. That won't stick. If it's well, you have to understand. First of all, right now the Big Ten doesn't have a commissioner,
right?
So for those talks to even be coming about, I think is well. I just think they're ill-conceived because the Big Ten doesn't even have a commissioner right now, so there's no talks to be even discuss expansion at this point. So I would kind of leave it there.
James, last week Will and I discussed the, how can we say it, Will? Shaky, flimsy rumor.
Yeah.
About, what was it? A possible Pac-12, Big 12 merger. Is that what it was, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that rumor, James? A possible Pac-12, Big 12 merger.
Like, completely?
Except that it would exclude Cal and Stanford. But yeah, everybody else.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I just don't see the value of adding every single one of those teams. I don't think it's worth the work on the Big 12 side, and financially it probably doesn't add a ton of value per team. So I would not see that. I could see them adding a few teams like we've talked about in the past, but I don't see a merger like that happening.
Agreed. It made no sense to us either. So nothing's changed on that. Will, what are your thoughts? Or James, what are your thoughts on the Florida State AD speaking in front of his board of trustees, saying that things must change for revenue-wise in the ACC in order to close the revenue gap for the football schools like Florida State and Clemson?
Oh, go ahead, James.
I mean, it's a money-driven business. We've seen just the SEC is going to continue to get bigger. The Big 12's payday has been going to be pretty nice. There's a lot of areas where, I mean, it's all about now, conference survival and what will survive. Obviously, the ACC's in a decent position, but I think, I mean, he made some valid points in my opinion.
Will, what do you think about those comments?
I commend him. I commend him for taking the bull by the horn, so to speak. I wanted to say something else, but I'll leave it there. Yeah, I mean, he jumped on the table for his school, for his university, for his programs. You can't do anything but commend him for that. Will it work? I don't know, but you got to commend him for taking the step, for doing it. Absolutely.
Do either one of you believe there will come a time that a school challenges their conference's grant of rights and tries to get out early?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think that'll be? And any friendly wager of who that might be? James, Will?
No, I don't. Who it would be? I mean, to be easy, can I say Florida State?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's coming for sure. Absolutely.
James, how soon do you think it'll come?
In the next 2 to 3 years, I'd imagine. There'd be something. I don't know which team or which school it would be, or multiple schools, but I think, within the next 2-3 years, we'll see something like that happen, just because of how rapidly things have shifted even in the past, 15, 16 months.
How about you, Will?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Next 2 to 3 years.
Wow,
Sure.
that's soon. Wow, really?
Yeah. What about you?
I'm leaning more toward 5.
Okay.
5 to 6 years. I think it'll be somebody from the ACC, Florida State or Clemson. I think it'd be one of those two, maybe Miami, but most likely Florida State or Clemson. But it's a lot of money, to challenge this, take it to court, grant of rights. Probably, this is $100 million battle,
Sure.
So that's long pockets. That's James Mueller kind of money right there, man. That's long, deep pockets right there, Will.
Yeah.
So, that's out of our pay grade right there. But I agree it's going to happen. 2 to 3 years, I think. I'd be surprised it happens that fast. But James, what do you think is going to happen to the Pac-12 this year?
This year? I mean, I think it will just sort of hang on by a thread throughout the remainder of this year, but I think it will eventually just crumble apart and schools will scramble pretty soon. They haven't been able to get any sort of media rights deal, and there's not a ton of interest right now just because the appeal isn't there with USC and UCLA leaving and just a bunch of the uncertainty. So I think I think it's a ticking time bomb, and sooner or later things are just gonna completely blow up.
How about you, Will? This year?
This year status quo because they have everybody.
Okay.
As far as next year and beyond, I don't know. I will say, in 24 with the second largest media market being gone from the conference, I mean, the fall off is going to be drastic for sure. In all facets, but for this year, it's status quo. Checks have been written.
Reason I said this year is I assume a new media rights deal will be reached within the month, but the money won't be good enough for teams like Arizona, Oregon, Washington to want to stay. And they'll start the wheels in motion of, we're getting out of here. You guys what do you think? What are your thoughts on the discussion, the rumor about Ion, Scripps Sports, and the Pac-12? I'm impressed. Did you laugh? Were you like, what the hell? Who? What?
I said, I just laughed. Like, come on, man, really? That's what we're doing? Okay.
James, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just sort of confused, but also found it comedic. Yeah.
Okay. One more thing. So I think, James, you said you got to go real quick. But real quickly, Pac-12 beat writer John Wilner on a sports show, Utah, I think, a few days ago, surmised that the new media rights deal, whatever it is, that the Pac-12 reaches will be average payout of 20 in the 20s, high 20s, mid to high 20s per school, millions of dollars. What do you say to that, Will?
That's a fifth of the Big Ten's take home per school.
And that's roughly $5 million less than the Big 12.
Yeah.
James, is that number too low? And that number, if it's that low, would that be the final nail in the coffin that said, we're out of here?
I don't think, from the school's perspectives, it's too low, but I don't think it's too low given what the conference is going to look like in the future. Like Will said, with losing, the LA market in the next couple of years. So I think I mean, whenever if that's the number that comes out, I think some of the current Pac-12 schools are going to be like, more urgent to look to move on, because it's bottom tier money of the so-called power conferences.
All right, James, if you gotta leave us, man, just let me know.
I can stay on for a few more minutes.
Okay, cool. Reminder, everybody's tuning in on our Folks Talk Sports Twitter account and on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube channel. Folks Talking Sports is sponsored by 5 Star Properties. The show 5 Star Properties is a Dallas-based company owned by a UH alum who I met face-to-face last Sunday at a basketball game. Great to meet him and his family. If you are facing a foreclosure or you need to sell your house as is for cash, call 972-532-SELL or visit their website at 5starprops.com. That's FIVESTARPROPS.com. James, what's wrong with the Rockets?
A little bit of everything. I was surprised. I was surprised Eric Gordon actually got moved. I know that's a little old news, but they're young. That's one thing, but also just it doesn't seem like Steven Silas has the locker room there. There's a bunch of inconsistencies, and their offense is just pure awful. There's no scheme to it. It's just a bunch of ISO ball and stuff, so it's pretty easy for teams to defend.
And Will, your perspective outside looking in, what's wrong with the Rockets?
They're young. Who's a veteran leader on that squad? They have a bunch of rookies, second,
your dude, Will, from
Jason?
Ohio State.
Yeah. Exactly my point. Exactly. And who was the vet that taught him?
Eric Gordon.
Again, I say my point is. So I think for them, the front office did the team a huge disservice, and maybe they thought it would be John Wall, but to bring a vet in with your role, look, they may not overpay a little bit, but look, teach these guys, show these guys the ropes, what it takes to survive in this league, and they didn't do that. And so I think that, Coach Silas can only do so much, and then, like you said, these guys are young. They don't know what they don't know. But to have a vet to re-emphasize and reiterate what Coach Silas is saying, I think this team sorely likes that.
Okay, so the guy who fixes that, James, is James Harden, right?
Yeah, right.
James Harden, my man Kelly Iko from The Athletic, last Sunday, actually, he gave it a 7 out of 10 chance that James will return to the Rockets this offseason. Wow. Thoughts on that?
Certain, well, okay.
To play basketball.
Yeah, somebody, a certain industry's happy, from what I understand.
But would that be a good thing for the Rockets' long-term development? James, Tony?
No, I don't think so. Just because I do think they need to bring in some veterans, just like Will was saying, with some mentorship and stuff. But Harden's going to take up, he'll take up a bunch of playing time. I don't think that moves you from the worst team in the NBA to a legit contender just with that, and who, regardless of who their draft pick is, assuming it's pretty high. So I think, yeah, you'll get a little better. You'll win some more games in the short term, but in the long term, Harden's time, and if he comes back to Houston, I don't think there will still be a championship like that. That championship window won't be open if he comes back. So might as well continue to try to develop the younger guys and bring in a few vets that won't take up as much time, get paid, not a ton of money and stuff like that, just to help develop the team.
Well, Tony M is chiming in on the YouTube channel. His reaction to it. Hell no. James who? Lead who? Thoughts on that, Will?
Facts.
Does it matter? Excuse me, Will, but
yeah.
Add your 3 cents to this. Does it matter? Should it matter? The way James left the organization, how he left, what he did to get out of here, if they are truly contemplating bringing him back?
Absolutely, it should. And it better, in my opinion. And then 2, James is not the vet at the end of his career that I'm thinking about. James allegedly still has aspirations of winning the title. And if he comes there, it's not going to happen. So is he just coming for the check at that point? Is he just coming because he knows there's no pressure? I would question all of that at that point. So no. I'm thinking more of a Sam Mitchell, Kevin Garnett type situation. Bring that guy in. Maybe I don't know, and I only bring him up because I think this is what he's trying to do. Bruh. Don't swing on me through the screen. Kevin Love. That type guy.
Well, no, I have no problem with that, but a guy like that.
A guy like that, right.
Yeah, because, and going to your point, James, his quote, it's on my YouTube channel and elsewhere. He said before he left, these guys aren't good enough. James, this year's Rockets team right now is 13-46. They're not good enough. So why the hell are you changing your attitude, your word now? You said, how long ago, Will? A month ago, that Philadelphia, this year's Philly team, was his best chance to win a championship.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Coming to the Rockets, you're not going to help this team win a championship anytime soon. So, James, what do you want to do, man? What is it? What is it, the check? Because, Will, if he just wants to enjoy the Houston nightlife,
yep,
he can do that in the off season. He can do that with his private jet during the season. Sometimes, if he wants to, if he's big and bad like that,
yep,
he ain't got to come back to the team and do that. He can still have his restaurants and his businesses here. Have his people take care of that. Make sure it's run effectively, making money for him. He does not have to be here in the organization to do those things. If he wants to win a championship,
right.
So I don't know. That's 7 out of 10, my man said, and I've known Kelly for a while, and he's connected to the organization more than I am now. I'm like, ooh, what's changed, James? Or why, James? Why? Put the meme up. Why, James? I mean, really, man. Just, So Tony and No Salt, I think Tony missed yesterday's Let's Talk Houston Rockets show, but No Salt was there chiming in with comments. There was nobody in yesterday's show, Will, just like right now, who wants James back on his team. I mean, because yes, it would give them some more wins next season. But at what cost? They're not going to the playoffs next year. Maybe it helps them get to the play-in, maybe, with James.
No.
But would you want James on it? Real talk. Tony M, No Salt, Will, would you want James Harden to mentor Victor Wembanyama?
Nope.
And Tony M, No Salt, comment on that. Real talk. Would you want James Harden to mentor Victor Wembanyama?
0. Absolutely not.
I don't say I don't care, but Tillman Fertitta, well, did you see the clip from Mardi Gras? Was it last weekend?
Yeah.
Where he said, pray for Victor so we get Victor.
I saw something else about Tillman this morning. I meant to ask you about.
Yeah, about put in a bid for the Commanders.
Yeah.
I don't know where he got that money from. Put in a bid of $5.5 billion. But
let me get that.
But it's amazing how money works, because when he bought the Rockets, his worth at that point was, let's say, $2.6 billion, and he bought the Rockets for $2 billion. Now he's putting up 5.5, and his worth is $8 billion. Oh boy, it must be nice to have your value just at minimum triple in 5 years, from 2.6 to 8. Man,
let me get that.
But comment from No Saw. I think Victor would mentor Harden more than the other way around. And Tony, he's the last person I want to mention Wemby. Agree. So, and I know James spent the time in the summer working out with Jalen and Scoot and Josh Christopher. I'm gonna put this out there, folks. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe we still hearing all these national folks talking about the Rockets culture, but if y'all still clinging to James Harden, well, it wasn't that long ago. Remember Tim McMahon's article in the ESPN, the Honey Bun article?
The Honey Bun, yeah.
When Tim made it public, stuff that I had known for a while, that the Rockets had bent over backwards and gave James everything he wanted, and James still wanted out. Bruh, why come back? Because your man who gave you everything you wanted, he's with you in Philly.
Right.
Daryl Morey. And your man Tad Brown. Y'all see where I am on this. I'm getting kind of warm about this possibility. But hey, James, you do what you want to do. Tillman. See, if that happens, it's a ticket move. It's for tickets. It's not for wins, because it'd be short term. They'd sell more tickets. Hey, James Harden's back with the Rockets. Okay. Might get them a few more TV appearances. Okay. He ain't going to the playoffs. Playoffs?
All right.
Playoffs? What? We're talking playoffs? What is the word? Diddly poo?
Yeah.
Come on, man. And this is true right here. James been getting special treatment from the Rockets ever since. We're going back years. So no, we could. Some folks would not say this is wrong either about James and Morey conspired to get James to the Sixers. Some folks wouldn't say that's not wrong either. That's not far-fetched either.
For sure.
So, and I know James Harden is a hell of a talented basketball player. No question. But Will, how many times start of seasons did we see nationally people questioning James coming to camp out of shape?
Not only that, it's people now that can't wait for the playoffs so he cannot show up.
So, he's done better in the playoffs. He's had some moments like, ooh, James. What the hell, James? The Spurs will never take that. The Spurs fiasco.
Yep.
Boy. And then the Warriors. And then later on, he did better. But later on, his own friend, Russell Westbrook. Yo, man, we can't be doing this stuff. Why let this man get away with all this kind of stuff? Chris Paul challenged James. These are NBA peers.
Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers. And y'all talking about wanting to bring James back here so he can mentor these young guys? Okay.
Chris Paul, the one you just mentioned him, Chris Paul.
But I think people realize when James and Russ couldn't work, and when James and Russ, because, they were all hype. Hey, James and Russ grew up together, played ball together in California, West Coast. They're tight. That didn't work. Folks began to realize, maybe it ain't Russ. maybe it ain't Russ. Huh. Yeah. But I'm just, Oh, Tony said he doesn't even want James's jersey in the rafters of the building. Wow. Woo. Okay. See, James hit Tony in his wallet. So I understand that right there. All right. Real quick reminder, we'll put it on the big screen here. Oh, James Mueller hopped on for a few minutes. He stayed a little longer than he had initially thought. But Folks Talkin Sports is sponsored by 5 Star Properties, a Dallas-based company owned by a UH alum. Salute to him. Great guy, great family. If you are facing foreclosure or you need to sell your house as is for cash, call 972-532-SELL. That's 972-532-7355. Or visit the website at 5starprops.com. FIVESTARPROPS.com. Well, I'm gonna bring this up again and help make it make sense. And I'm being very serious when I ask this question.
Okay.
Why? And I'm shifting gears back to college.
Yep.
Why don't we have football only conferences in Division I?
It's still, well, the pundits would say we're still academic institutions. And at the end of the day, we don't want to give an impression that we're either which by the way, I believe they are, running farm systems for professional leagues, or B, separating themselves and to classes, the elite, the haves versus the have-nots, or C, I'll stop at B. I'll leave that there. But yeah, that's why. That's why.
Because football makes the world go round. College sports will. What in sports, college and pro.
Yep.
We're living in a fantasy land.
Yep.
I don't.
Still,
go ahead.
It's still academia. That would be the response. We're academia. We're academic. Fine. We're academic. Well, see, Freudian slip, but it is a financial institution. But I digress. It's academia. We're academic institutions of higher learning.
And they would say that, and my response to that would be, then why do you have your volleyball team, your hockey team, your tennis team, your softball team, your baseball team, track and field, anybody other than football, really, because basketball does as well, travel so many miles across the country to compete in athletics and then have to get back to school for the academics? That doesn't make sense to what they would say is the reason for no football only conferences. Football, the game is one game a week. Okay. They could, for Saturday games specifically, leave Friday morning, fly. You're going to fly. Obviously, you're going to fly. Wherever you got to go, you're going to fly.
Yep.
And get to your destination for your game on Saturday.
They do. Yep.
You have football only conferences. You have regional conferences for all the other sports. Even basketball. The money, well, I mean, you might want to put in writing, but if the football team makes all the money, I still think some of that money would go to the university, right? Would not be all of it, but some of it. And to the other teams as well on campus. But if you do that, you could have some money, media for basketball, a media rights deal for the other teams. And it'd be easier for fans to travel to the basketball games if they're in regionalized Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, if they're California, Washington, Oregon, if they're close, if they're within driving distance, for the student assets as well as the fans. it doesn't make sense to me when you have USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. You got Rutgers in the Big Ten. You got UCF in Orlando going to be in the Big 12. West Virginia, and nobody else in the Big 12 near West Virginia. Nobody.
Nope.
Cincinnati will be. But, folks, I think more and more fans should start asking that question. Why don't we have football-only conferences? Because, Will, you know, you cover sports. There are, like, examples. Like HCU, their soccer team is not in the Southland Conference, for example. They're in another conference for soccer because it's not offered in the Southland, as an example. So it is done.
Notre Dame is in Big Ten in the Big Ten Conference for men's hockey.
Yes. And in other sports in the ACC.
Yeah.
And independent for football.
Yep.
So it can be done. I maybe at some point in the future, because we're on the fast track anyway to 2 conferences for football, Big Ten and SEC. And when you get into the point of 20-team conferences, that's not a conference, Will.
Yep.
That's 2 conferences put together. That's what that is.
Right.
20-team conference. Come on, man. That's a super conference, but it's 2 conferences put together.
And you're still playing non-conference games in a 20 conference, right? Yeah.
So that means half the conference you're not going to play.
Right.
So that's not a conference then. That's 2 conferences put together.
Right.
It's media driven. Yes, I know that. Will knows that. Tony knows that. Let's call a buck. Just make it football only conferences. I'm not saying don't go to class. You can still go to class, football players, if you want to. I mean, that's up to you with all the bells and whistles you get from the money that you generate. But the other sports, they do exist as well. But I digress. Well, all right. I'm going to wrap it up. These final moments here on Folks Talking Sports, sponsored by 5 Star Properties, because I want to get ready to watch the Rockets. Give me your prediction, Will. Rockets play Dame and the Blazers on the road in Portland. What say you?
Well, as a Laker fan, I'm rooting for the Rockets, so the Lakers can keep. Hey, huge comeback for the Lakers.
It sure was. What was it down? What was it?
27.
27.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I was going back and forth between that game, the UCLA Colorado game. I saw the Lakers win down the stretch. AD did AD, LeBron did LeBron. Any more word on what he injured?
It's his foot. He said he heard a pop.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter, but I wasn't sure what it was referencing.
Yeah, and he limped out of the arena. So
okay.
He evaluated tomorrow.
Okay. So it could be a big deal then.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So it's a pop that could be the plantar fascia tendon or something like that. So yeah, he gutted out today to beat the Mavs, but he couldn't. We'll find out tomorrow whenever the results of the MRI come out. But yeah. All right. Blazers starting lineup tonight, Will.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Eubanks, Jeremy Grant, Dame, Cam Reddish, and Matisse Thybulle.
Doesn't make me feel reassuring, but you know.
Rockets starting 5, KJ Martin, Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith, Jayshawn Tate, and Ty Washington.
Speaking of KJ Martin, did Kenyon Sr. give Shaq his bag? Going back
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah.
That popped in my mind when you said that. Like, oh yeah, he did. Kind of put it out there, but I digress.
But give me a prediction. Rockets gonna win. Snap there. What is it? Where are they on now? 8 or 9 straight losses?
That's it, huh? Man, I hope so, man. For Coach Silas' sake. I saw him the other day. What, he slammed the table? They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And I'm like, oh, bro. It's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. So for his sanity, I hope they do.
Because if they don't win tonight, Will, Tuesday is it Denver? Who is it? No, Wednesday's Ja. Yeah, Tuesday's Denver, and Wednesday's Ja and the Grizzlies.
I saw Denver Thursday night. Ew. Okay. It's not. Yeah. Is that not that it matters, but I'm going to ask: is that Memphis game at home or in?
Both are in Houston. Back to back Tuesday and Wednesday in Houston.
Wow. Okay. I know. Why did I ask? I mean, not that it's going to matter, but you watch that be the one they win. But
after those two, well, get your popcorn ready for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Titanic must-see TV. Well, must-see TV. Rockets and the Spurs.
Back to back?
Yes. In San Antonio Saturday, in H-Town on Sunday.
Wow.
The two worst teams in the West. Hell, two worst teams in the league now. Playing back to back.
Wow.
The games might go in overtime. Both of them. To extend the misery for all the fans and media covering that trash.
Wow.
And I said what I said. Yeah, that trash. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Because the Spurs lost, 15 straight, I think?
They like 17 now.
Because they lost. They lose today, probably.
Oh.
Or last night or whatever. It's all run together, man. But real quick, as we wind it down here, thoughts on the Hawks firing Nate McMillan mid-season and hiring Quin Snyder?
Yeah, I think Nate got a raw deal. I think Nate, I mean, it was clear. I mean, they chose Trae Young.
Yep.
Point blank, period. They chose Trae Young. I mean, they fired the GM, and then they fired the coach. So who's left? Trae.
And Trae better get on a good foot.
Right. He had 34 in the game winner tonight. So we'll see.
Yeah. But the Spurs have lost 16 straight.
16. Okay.
So there's a chance that both the Spurs and the Rockets could be on losing streaks of double figures come the weekend.
No, that Rockets going to win tonight. I think.
Oh, well, like I said, there's a chance.
Yeah, I know.
Man. And back to back. Oh, boy. Woo, man. Woo. Pray for Victor. Pray for Victor. All right. That's it on this edition of Folks Talkin Sports, sponsored by 5 Star Properties. My man, brother Willy Gibson from Ohio. How can folks contact you, sir?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Will Gibson7, and as the crawl says, at Will Knowles on Facebook.
Appreciate it, my man. As always, for joining me a little bit later than usual. I'm gonna say, you know it. I mentioned it to you, but Tony M, no salt. Tune in tonight. Let's see. Rockets game should be over. 10:30 Central Time. KHOU 11 Sports Extra. I'll be on talking college hoops with colleagues Matt Musil, Jason Bristol, and Daniel Gotera. So 10:30 Central Time. Check it out, because I might surprise y'all, man. You know, a brother can clean up real nice if you want to. So, as always, thank you to James Mueller for joining us. James from Daily Cougar. If you're wondering, Andy Yanez got back from Greenville, North Carolina, probably within 2 hours ago on his flight. 2 flights from Greenville to Charlotte, then Charlotte to Houston. So Andy's back in town. We'll be doing our next Let's Rage Cougs this Thursday after the Cougs game against Wichita State. Senior night for the Cougs team. So tune in for that. Should be probably around 9 o'clock our time on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. But it's time now for the Rockets and the Blazers, Will. So until probably next Sunday, take care, my man. You never know. I might need you on Thursday, just in case.
All right.
All right. So take care, man. See you later. Peace.
All right, boss. Peace.